So we'll see the next concept, difference between CI and SI. So this is an important concept because repeatedly they ask this question, difference between simple and compound interest. Compound interest and simple interest difference for 2 years and for 3 years and all they ask. So we have formulas to find all this, 2 years formula, difference between CI and SI for 3 years. But we'll see how to find this difference using this I1, I2 concept itself. So we have, I have given here CI for 2 years, 3 years and 4 years. So with this itself we'll see how to find difference between CI and SI. Say compound interest, simple interest and difference. Say for first year, so what will be compound interest? It is I1, that is interest on the principal for the first year. And what will be simple interest? So it will be the same. So I have told you for first year or first period, simple interest, compound interest both will be same. And what is difference between simple and compound interest for first year? It will be always 0. And for 2 years, so what is compound interest? So I have written here 2I1 plus I2. So what is simple interest? It is I1 into 2, that is 2I1. And when compound interest was asked for 2 years, so we found I1, multiplied it with 2, then found I2, and then we added, we got the compound interest. Here, difference between compound interest and simple interest is asked. So simple interest is 2I1. So when you are finding the difference, so this 2I1, so will be in simple interest also. So difference will be just I2. So there is formula to find the difference between compound interest and simple interest for 2 years. So D is difference between CI and SI. So P into R by 100 the whole square. So using this formula, you can find the difference between compound interest and simple interest. But using this I1, I2 concept, you can easily find the difference without using this formula. Say for example, so 4,500 and rate is 10%. So if difference between CI, SI for 2 years if it is asked, so what is the difference? So we will find I1 because we have to find I1 to find I2. So what is I1? It is 10% of 4,500 which is 450. And what is I2? 10% of 450, 45. And when difference between simple and compound interest and simple interest is R, so just I2 will give you the difference. So here 4,500 is the principal, rate is 10 for 2 years. What is the difference? I2. So 45 is the answer. So instead of substituting in this and working out, it takes some time to find the difference. So just find I2, you get the interest difference. And if they ask for 3 years, so what is compound interest for 3 years? So it is 3I1 plus 3I2 plus I3. And what is simple interest for 3 years? It is just 3I1. And difference between compound interest and simple interest for 3 years will be, so this simple interest, you have this 3I1 again, so difference will be 3I2 plus I3. So now for the same sum, for 4,500, 10%, for 2 years we found what was the difference. So difference was I2, that is 45. So if they ask for 3 years, so we need I1, I2 and I3. So I1 will be 450, I2 will be 45, I3 is 4.5. And now what will be difference between CISI for 3 years? So I2 into 3, so 45 into 3, it is 135. I3 is 4.5. So just add this. So 139.5 is difference between compound interest and simple interest for 3 years. So likewise you can proceed for 4 years also. So when difference between CISI is asked, so instead of using the formula, so you can just use this I1 I2 concept to find the difference. So this is for 2 years formula, and when they ask for 3 years, so for 3 years difference formula is this: difference between compound interest and simple interest is P into R by 100 the whole square into 3 plus R by 100. So working all this, we can get the difference between CISA for 3 years. But no need to do all this, no need to use this formula because it takes time. So find I1, I2 and I3. So triple this I2 because for difference 3I1 will be in simple interest also. So triple this I2 and add I3, you get the difference. So now we'll see a few examples for this working. So we'll see an example to find difference between compound interest and simple interest. So here the question is, so the difference between compound interest and simple interest for the amount of rupees 5,000 in 2 years is rupees 32. So find the rate of interest. So in this question, difference itself is given and you are asked to find the rate of interest. So I have told you whenever rate of interest is asked, so we can choose from the options itself any convenient rate percent. Here principal is 5,000 for 2 years. So what is difference between compound interest and simple interest for 2 years? So that is just I2. Find I1 and then find I2. I2 will be the difference. So convenient rate we can take 10%. So if you take 10% for 5,000, so what is 10% of 5,000? 500. So that is I1. It is 500. And now we need I2 for the difference because in simple interest we have this 2I1 also. So I2 will be difference between compound and simple interest for 2 years. So what is I2? So for 500 10% is 50. So when you take the rate as 10%, we get I2 is 50. That is difference is 50, but in the data we have got 32 only. So obviously the rate percent will be less than 10%. It will not be 12 or 13%. So we have two options, 5% and 8%. So the answer which they have given, difference is 32. So I2 is 32. So it can't be 5% also. So it can be 8. So I2 for 10% is 50. So if it is half, it can be 5%. So it is 32 in between. So option can be 8%. So now we'll cross check if 8% is the correct answer. So to find the difference for CI and SI, we need to find I2. So we'll take 8% as the rate, and to find I1, so 5,000 into 8 by 100. So what is 1% of 5,000? 50. So what is 8%? It is 400. And now we have to find this I2 to get the difference. So I1 is 400. So find 8% of 400. Now what is 8% of 400? 1% is 4, 8% will be 8 into 4, 32. So we have got the difference 32. So the answer is 8%. So when rate is asked, you can choose with the options itself. So we'll see another example. So where difference between CISI for 3 years is asked.